So, we're back with another episode of Fizzle's Film Reviews. Hello guys, nice to see you again. I know it's been a while, but I really do want to bring this back, maybe find some way to speed up my editing process to get these out in a more efficient manner, but enough of the talk. Today we're talking about a movie I just saw, The Big Sick. It got a limited release a few weeks ago, but it wasn't until last week that we got it in, and it was really freaking good. I'm very impressed with the films we've had this past month. Baby Driver and Spider-Man Homecoming are both excellent films as well, but this one really took the cake for me. And it would seem odd because romance films aren't my thing. Romance isn't my thing. I even made a rant on it. I'm one of those a-holes that think it's a sham or whatever, you know. This one's second only under Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, in my opinion, and that's only because I have a soft spot for fantasy, and Eternal Sunshine is a bit of a mind bender. This film is simple and is based on a true story, which are both red flags to me, but the execution is practically perfect.
I have to tell you something, babe. I've been dating this girl. She's white.
A white girl? Okay, you can't look like you and yell white girl.
It's okay. We hate terrorists.
Without giving much away, the basic synopsis is that a stand-up comic named Kamal meets up with a heckler named Emily, and it goes downhill after they start dating. There's a clash as he struggles to keep the relationship secret from his very traditional Muslim family, and she breaks up with him, and then comes down with a mystery illness shortly after, bringing Kamal and Emily's parents together through the struggle. Kamal is played by the real guy, which works really well actually. He's clearly an experienced comedian and his presence is fantastic. I recently watched Man on the Moon, which is a biopic with Jim Carrey portraying comedian Andy Kaufman. And there's a lot of similarities I got between the two, namely with the awkwardness and the stand-up. Though with Kamal it's a little less intentional and just kind of cringy. He's a bit of a struggling comedian at this point, and I think it's said about like 10 years ago or something. I might be mistaken, might be completely wrong, but yeah, he's a struggling comedian. But yeah, throughout the movie he allows his emotions to leak into his routines and ends up bombing an important gig really badly, whereas Andy Kaufman bombed on purpose to bait his audience. But he's plenty funny and lifts the mood plenty of times throughout the film.
Let me give you some advice, Kamal. Love isn't easy. That's why they call it love.
I don't really get that.
I know. I thought I could just start saying something and something smart would come out.
Ray Romano, who plays Emily's dad Terry, was actually incredible. I mean, I enjoyed Everybody Loves Raymond, as run-of-the-mill as it was, but I never could have foreseen him as an emotional actor. Holly Hunter, playing the mother Beth, was also excellent. She's probably the most emotional character throughout the film. A lot of the weight lands on her and she nails it. All the other actors do a fine job as well. Zoe Kazan's performance was completely comatose, and that worked well in this role, actually. It's funny because the weakest thing in Baby Driver and Spider-Man Homecoming, in my opinion, were the romance plots. Not as in they were terrible, but they felt just serviceable, whereas if it was more organic and fleshed out like this movie, they'd be nearly perfect films. The chemistry was really good between the actors, and I was never pulled out of the movie at any point. No moments felt like this is just a scene for a movie, which is quite important for a movie based on true events in any case. It's hilarious because it doesn't try too hard to be hilarious. The quips are timed perfectly and aren't overused. That's another thing I have to mention. I'm really glad there are offensive jokes here. This movie had the best 9/11 joke I've ever heard.
You've never talked to people about 9/11?
No, what's your stance?
What's my stance on 9/11? Oh, anti. It was a tragedy. I mean, we lost 19 of our best guys.
Huh?
That was a joke, obviously. 9/11 was a terrible tragedy, and it's not funny to joke about it.
And its use is perfectly awkward. I believe nothing should be off limits in comedy. I'm no politically correct comedian, as you probably know if you've seen any of my previous videos. I'm quite the contrary, and it's nice that this guy can feel the same way. He's not afraid to make ISIS jokes, and I think that's very important. People shy away from discussing things that make them uneasy, and this movie in many regards is about confronting these feelings and breaking the ice, and the bravery behind that and the benefits of taking charge. And I've also got a soft spot for turning tragedy into comedy, which this movie does a lot as well. It's a comedy about a girl in a coma, after all. Not really hilarious on paper, is it? But it's important. Oh, what's that sound? Oh right, that means it's time for a Fizzle mini talk. Years back, my mom murdered my brother and committed suicide, and for a year and a half I was very depressed and avoided doing anything I could. And only now have I really taken the positives out of it. Now, I do think it's important for people to at least understand tragedy, and going through it could be very good, but I do understand that saying that about my situation would be kind of similar to saying what doesn't kill you makes you stronger after being paralyzed from the waist down. It's a bit of an extreme circumstance, but still I think that experience matured me a lot as a person. I look back on myself and think, wow, what an ignorant smeghead. I used to be one of those people I make fun of in my videos.
They don't want their college to be a part of giving this person a platform because this person has a history of being abusive and this person says things that are racist and misogynist and anti-feminist and xenophobic.
If I had a nice, perfect life, I'd probably not be here educating people on the dangers of third-wave feminism or mainstream media, religion, video game publishers, or TJ Kirk. Okay, so that was a new little segment. I realized some of these movies are impossible to be neutral with when they tackle culture and religion and stuff. So, as much as I hate to use this term, I guess you could say that it's a bit of a lamekin. Wow, I'm just full of zingers today. Oh no, it's happening again. So Kamal's family is Pakistani Muslim, and his mother is constantly trying to hook him up with an arranged marriage because that's what love is in their culture. Oh, okay, that joke is actually made in the movie. Cool your jets, guys. This is a major conflict because Kamal is not religious and he disapproves of their traditions, but he still loves them as family. But he knows if they find out that they will disown him. I found this very frustrating. Granted, I love that the movie portrayed this, especially in the way that it did. I don't know much about Muslims. All I would say I'm familiar with is Christianity, Judaism, the Egyptians, and Hinduism, the latter two of which being because school, and my mother actually mocked me incessantly over it. You better not start believing in those things, to which I was like, Mom, it's a school project, get over it. And I can relate with Kumal quite a bit too, though I've always kept a distance with my family. I have this very negative connotation with religion now because belief is what made my own mother close-minded, ignorant, and petty for many years. And I see the same thing in Kumal's family. He loves them and they love him, and they're not bad people, but they are so held back because of their beliefs. It's tragic and stupid. There's so many cases where religious beliefs, be it whatever religion, inhibit people from making rational choices. I'm sick of it, and that's why I'm agnostic. Seriously. They say he's selfish for not doing what they tell him to do. I hate hypocrisy. It's selfish to think that someone should give up their ambitions to live for your family. Okay, now that we've gotten both of those discussions out of the way, it's time to get back to the movie. I love the range throughout the movie. It makes ample use of the cultural clashing between Kamal's family and American culture in such an authentic way. This is going to sound horribly racist, but I work in an area with a lot of East Indian people, and there's subtleties and stereotypes that are more than noticeable. And this movie points them out and mocks them. Playfully, of course. There's a scene where they're all having dinner and the doorbell rings and Kamal says, "Oh, I bet it's another Pakistani woman who is just passing by, even though we live at the end of a cul-de-sac, and she just dropped in." And sure enough, the mother comes back with a Pakistani woman and says, "She just dropped in," cheerfully. And this continues a lot, and she never changes it up. It's word for word the same every single time.
I wonder who that could be.
I'm guessing it's a young single Pakistani woman.
This is Zubeda.
For your files? Your X-Files? That's your favorite show, huh?
The truth is out there.
They're also often communicating with really dodgy words, and they're lying to each other very poorly. I'm just digging this hole deeper, aren't I? There's really good setup and payoff with the X-Files joke. The movie manages to be awkward, emotional, and hysterical, often all at the same time. And I'm not going to lie, I get teary-eyed at emotional movies, and this was no exception, but at times I honestly couldn't tell whether it was because of how intense the film was or how funny it was. Spoiler time. Skip here if you want to skip the spoilers in time. Okay. Emily survived. I know, it's shocking, even though the poster kind of gives it away, as do the interviews with the real Emily, who is alive today. Yes, I'm sure you could piece the two together. Yeah. She comes out of the coma and makes a recovery, but she doesn't want to give Kamal another chance, bringing up the solid point that all the bonding that went on between he and her parents happened while she was unconscious, and that she didn't experience any of that. Earlier in the film, his family finds out about Emily and disowns him. And Emily finds out by watching cringy videos of him, and there's a really touching moment when they're talking, and she says that, to be honest, it was a terrible performance, but she liked everything about it. And that was sweet. And then she shows up to heckle him in New York, and there's actually a presumed ending that was cut from the film because Kamal believed it was too unbelievable, where he marries Emily and his family, realizing that he was serious about her, come around. I get why this was cut, but it's kind of odd that the film leaves it on such a sour note between him and his family, when in real life that got a happy conclusion as well. It is cheesy and cliche, sure, but surely you can make an exception if it actually happened. Stranger things have happened. And if you'd like to know more, then be sure to subscribe to my pal Rob Dyke and watch his series, Seriously Strange. Though beware,
it's not for the faint of heart, and viewer discretion is advised.
Bo Burnham surprisingly made an appearance in this film. I'm glad he got something good after Rough Night. Funny guy, but that movie just sucked. One nitpick I can make, I guess, is that the start of the movie didn't seem to pass time convincingly. There's numerous clips of them hanging out, and then in one, Emily just says, "We've been together for months now," like outright, literally telling you how long they've been together instead of making it apparent through just the visuals. I also think Emily watching him bomb his comedy routine on YouTube was made up as well, seeing as I typed pretty much the exact same words into the YouTube search to no avail. You can correct me in the comments if I'm mistaken and this worst bomb ever video actually exists. Anyways, if any of this has interested you, be sure to check out this film. Excellent film, probably actually my favorite since Logan, and I'm actually going to give this one a very unexpected 10 out of 10.